Hello, welcome to our first webinar of 2025. I am Grace, the Developer Evangelism Manager at Xero. Now, I did put up a little poll this morning while you're all coming in to ask you about your tea and coffee preferences. And what I can see is that we are all very much coffee lovers today. So looks like we will be very caffeinated too. So thanks for answering that. A little bit of fun for this morning. So today we've got an absolutely packed agenda, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with all of you. It's nice to see you back here for 2025 with us. So if you are up late, don't stress. We are going to record. So if you can't quite stay awake through the whole thing, then you'll be able to watch it on our Xero Developer YouTube channel later. This morning, I am joined by Annie Terry, Head of Platform Marketing at Xero, and Fran Gleisner, Product Manager for the Xero App Store, as well as Ashley Schroder, who is joining us from Paidnice, and we'll have a little AMA with him at the end of today's session as part of our Q&A. On our Q&A during today's session, we have Brian, Kim, Jenna, and Welly helping out with any of the queries that pop up that they can answer during the course of the webinar. Of course, we will have a Q&A session at the end of today too, so please make sure that you submit your questions through the Q&A function today too. Right, so what are we going to cover today? As I mentioned, it's a packed agenda. We've got a range of technical updates from some of the pre-submitted questions that have come through, the API updates that are happening, and then we'll be moving through to an update from Fran around the Xero App Store listing pages, as well as a huge update from Annie with heaps and heaps of good things to share around our programs and events. Right, so let's kick into it. We have had quite a few questions from all of your registrations, so thank you so much for pre-submitting them. What I've done is I've pulled through some of the most common threads that I've seen to try and answer them for you this morning. One of the biggest questions is, where do I find out about upcoming changes or API changes? We have a changelog, which you can go and look at, and I'll be going over some of the key updates from that, those recent updates from that this morning. Next question was around Salesforce. So this individual integrates Xero with Salesforce using REST APIs. Where do I look for integration best practices and relevant API updates? So as well as those change logs, which are going to be really helpful for you, we do also have a set of best practice documentations, which covers a range of different things to do with integrating with our platform. It's not just for Xero certified apps, it's for anyone using the platform. So if you're after a little bit of advice on how to do things, I'd recommend checking that out. We also do have some vertical specific, like how to do inventory, how-to guides, so that might be of interest to you depending on what it is that your integration does. We had a number of questions come through about the API limits and the rate limits and a variety of things to do with that. There is a whole section on that in the best practices documentation, so I'd recommend having a read of that. But we do also have some documentation on the high volume threshold change, which came out last year, and there's a whole section which I've linked here that goes through the kind of efficient data retrieval process that you could look to use as a flow-on of those changes that happened late last year. A couple of questions about code samples. In particular, this one was our C#. We do have a range of sample apps and SDKs on our GitHub available, so please do go and check that out. Couple of people asking about how to see updates around the topics that were on today's agenda. please do read our blogs at devblog.xero.com. We do include those in our monthly newsletter typically as well, but that's where you can see pretty regular posts actually from people like myself or people on my team. Annie, who's talking later, and her team as well post updates on there too. So that's a little good tip for you this morning. Common thing also was around webhooks. This person in particular was asking for webhooks for bills, payments, and quotes. I just wanted to share that we're actively talking to the product teams to pass that feedback on and really trying to advocate for those features at the moment. So the moment I have anything to share with you, I will do so in one of our upcoming webinars. Right, let's talk about some of the key API updates that have been happening this quarter. First up, there's a couple of changes. One of those to our payroll API, which is the new validation on the post employees endpoint. This validation will prevent you from terminating an employee when they have unprocessed leave requests. So I think that'll be quite helpful and stop you from accidentally terminating an employee without those things being resolved. We also have a pretty helpful, small but very helpful validation change to the accounting API for tracking categories. We now have a 400 error returned when you exceed the 100 character limit for creating tracking category names. So I know that was a little bit frustrating sometimes, and it's hard to specifically know that you need to have validation on that within a field in your app. So now the API helpfully provides a 400 instead of a 500 for that particular issue. Now, one of the things that comes up pretty commonly is wanting updates around the XPM API. Very excitingly, I have two updates which have recently launched to the Practice Manager API. The first one is actually a whole new endpoint, which is for the client's endpoint for paging. So the default for this new endpoint is that you'll receive 50 items in a page. Now you can also, along with that, specify anywhere between 1 and 500 clients for that page size. So I think that'll be pretty helpful for some of you who integrate with the Practice API too. The second update here is to do with also on the client's endpoint. Specifically, it's relating to the notes section for clients. We are migrating from using a folder to tag fields. So the Xero HQ API uses tags. We're adopting, so uplifting the existing XPM API to use the same thing. So I've popped a whole bunch of information on this screen for you, which you can read through on talking, but you can also access all of this information on our changelog. Not to worry though, any of the folder-based notes will be automatically migrated to from folders to tags. This is rolling out for UK practices from March, and then they'll look to add more regions. So just a little heads up to be prepared for those changes coming. A quick note on free organizations, free test organizations. We do offer free Xero orgs for certified apps and for certified developer partners. So those are developers who are listed in the custom integration section on the Xero App Store. These test orgs are pretty beneficial for testing changes you make to Xero organizations. We do know that you would love a sandbox, but we don't have one of those available at the moment. So what we do instead is we're able to offer up to 3 Xero organizations for you to test with. We're able to provide those for different regions. So if you need one for Australia and New Zealand and the UK, we can do that. If you need different types of Xero plans, we're also able to configure that for you too. The cool thing is that because it's not the demo company, you're able to seed data in there, which will not reset. So it's a lifetime of data. Obviously, you can't use it for real accounting, but you can put any of your test data in there, and you can access those free organizations by contacting our API team via API at Xero.com. If you are trying to figure out how to test in the interim of becoming certified, you're welcome to use our developer or demo company, I should say. And if you search for Xero Demo Company in Google, you'll be able to find a bunch of information around that. We do have a guide on our Developer Center too for how to go about accessing that. Next up, I wanted to have a little talk through the bulk connections and rapid sync features that we have available. They are both technical benefits which are available to apps who are certified and are listed in the Xero App Store. So if you haven't heard of these features before, rapid sync essentially enables you to accelerate the data transfer between your app and Xero, which is a more efficient way to retrieve all the data you need on initial connection. Rapid sync is only available for connections that originate from the Xero App Store. And the way that it works is that it temporarily lifts the minute and the day rate limits for the first 30 minutes of that new connection, which has come from the Xero App Store. So that's a super useful tool if you're trying to sync a bunch of data out of Xero. We also have a piece of functionality called bulk connections, and this is really, really powerful as a feature. What you'll be able to do as an app is connect multiple Xero organizations all at the same time. So instead of having to authorize one organization at a time, if a person has multiple organizations, they can multi-select the organizations that they want to connect. This is particularly helpful for apps that are working with accountants or bookkeepers to onboard their tool for their clients. And you can access more information through the URL on the screen here. If you want to have these features turned on, please contact us, API@Xero.com. You'll need to provide your app name, your app ID, something along those lines so that we know who you are. For bulk connections, when we activate those features, typically what we'll do is turn it on for a test app so that you're able to ensure that the build work supports the feature, because you do have to change things just a little bit. But there's some pretty good documentation on this as well, and it's a really powerful feature for our certified apps to be able to access as benefits of the App Partner Program. Whilst we're talking about the App Partner Program, I do just want to have a little bit of a reminder around disconnecting inactive customers. Now, there's a couple of reasons you might do this. In general, even if you're not certified, one is to reduce your security risk, and customers can easily forget to disconnect your app. If they have a trial and they don't proceed, or maybe they turn off your app at some point, they may forget to do that. If you know that they are no longer using your application, the best practice here is that you disconnect them, which does reduce the potential vulnerability that could occur if someone tries to do something they shouldn't be doing. But for our apps that are certified and are listed in the Xero App Store, the critical thing to think of here is that it does help you maintain and be billed for the correct amount of Xero App Store referral fees. It's important that customers who do not churn from paying to paying from trial, or who churn off your app, are disconnected. And that disconnection call to our API triggers us to remove the referral from your account. And without that disconnection data, Xero doesn't know if your customer is still paying you or is still using your app or not. So I recommend that if you haven't already implemented that you go ahead and do so. And to help you out with that, there's a blog which we've written to assist you with kind of the accurate management and such things for your connections. Now, what happens if you don't know who's connected to your app? There are a number of scenarios where that can occur, but the good news is for you that you can use client credentials to support you with this. We have recently launched a number of new resources around client credentials to enable you to use them with Postman. If you've not heard of client credentials before, essentially it's a different grant type that allows an app to create their own token for non-tenanted areas so that you can access information about connections that you've made. All you need to access the client credentials grant is to use your client ID and your client secret. And it's only available to use on app.connections and marketplace.billing scopes. So it's very limited as to what you can access because they are non-tenanted scopes. If you're wondering what I'm on about and you want to learn more, please go ahead and check out the Postman collection and the blog and the YouTube video. So no matter what your learning style, we've got something for you so that you can learn more about this feature. And if you have any additional things you want to learn, please do pop that through as well. We're most welcome to that feedback from you. Now, I'm just going to launch a quick poll for you to learn a little bit more on what you enjoyed hearing about today. I appreciate your feedback, so it helps us with putting together our next webinar. Whilst you're doing that, I would like to remind you that you can submit questions for later through the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen in Zoom. But for now, what I'm going to do is I am going to welcome Fran Gleisner to join us to take us through the upcoming changes to Xero App Store listings.
Cool. Thanks, Grace. Just move on. So hi, everyone. I'm Fran. I'm a product manager in Ecosystem. And I'm excited to speak with you today on an upcoming improvement to app listings in the Xero App Store, which has been a long time coming. We've got a new feature. We are displaying pricing and plans on app listings, beginning with Xero App Store subscription apps or XaaS apps. So we know that pricing information is a crucial part of making an informed purchasing decision for customers on the Xero App Store. We've previously shown limited pricing information on app listings, but no detail about the plans that are available for apps. And we believe this will lead to a boost in conversions for you because customers need this in order to make a decision to purchase. So what does this mean for you? If you're on XaaS and don't already have pricing showing on your listing, you can add or update your plans and pricing, and they'll be included in our next phase in the next couple of months. If you're not on XaaS, we will be in touch with you as the changes become relevant to your listing. And finally, if you're not on XaaS and would like to be, you can find out more information in the Developer Centre. In terms of next steps, we're going to be rolling out to all Xero App Store listings in the coming months. So as Grace said, you can stay tuned via the Xero developer blog. I've got a quick demo as well, which to show you so you can have a sneak peek of what's coming. It's just showing there are different ways to see pricing, scrolling down or via the menu. It's a little bit janky. But yeah, I'll hand it back to you. Thanks, Grace.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today, Fran. If you do have any questions for Fran, then please submit them and we will answer them later in today's session. And now I would like to welcome Annie Terry to join us to share some great updates about our developer programs and events.
Awesome. Thank you, Grace. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Annie Terry. I'm head of platform marketing at Xero Developer. So I look after our programs, our events, our engagement, and work really closely with DevRel and a whole bunch of the other teams. But really happy to be here to talk about a few of the upcoming programs and events. So the first one is our Xero Referral program. So we've just launched this in the last couple of weeks. I wanted to share the information with this team here today. This is something that you've all been asking for. So we've heard from lots of you that you're constantly sending in new orgs to Xero. And not only can we not track them, but you're also not seeing any kind of benefit or acknowledgement of that. So we heard you and we took action. So we have extended the Xero Referral program now to Xero developers, and it's available now. So there is a small application process, and that's just really to make sure you're a human. If you apply, we'll accept you, and then you'll come into Partner Stack. The program is really simple. It gives you a offer for your customers. It's 90% off for 6 months. For every customer that converts, you'll receive a $200 bounty. So this isn't much different than what you've already been doing, except that we've tied an offer to it and we've tied a bounty payment to it. So we're really excited about this change. We're also tracking this. So you'll be able to track it inside of Partner Stack. You'll be able to see how well it's going for you, but we're also tracking it. So, if we start to see some interesting success, we'll reach out to you to do some co-marketing, which is really cool. Inside of Partner Stack, you'll find all kinds of things that will help you along this journey. So there are logos you can use. There's different marketing assets like the offer little image you see here, as well as some pre-can like blurbs to use on your different social channels or in your comms. And we're actively adding to that. So if you have feedback on things that would make your life easier and make it better for you, let us know and we'll add those in. The link to sign up is the bit.ly is xd-referrals. But I know they're going to link in here as well. And we'll be listing this in our newsletter every month. But hope you join. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns, and we'll keep making this program better, but really excited to have this on board. The second thing I wanted to talk about is our growth program. So we've talked to you all about this before. About 6 months ago, we launched the Xero Developer Growth Program in a beta. We invited 5 apps to join us for the kind of initial cohort. It was very much a launch and learn. So grateful to all those 5 apps. They went through it with us. They gave us some good feedback. And the consensus was positive, both from the app side and from Xero's side. And so we're really pleased to announce that we're launching the program into GA. It's a program that's designed to help accelerate the growth of selected apps. So you build to Xero, and as we know, sometimes getting started is hard, and it's not just like you build it and they will come. And so the growth program is set there to help us identify and select apps that we can accelerate early on their journey to boost revenue, connections, and subscribers. And we do that a whole bunch of different ways. We do promotions. We have special support. There's different collaboration opportunities with Xero. And I know Grace and Ash are going to talk a little bit about his experience in the program later on today. But we are now officially opening it to GA. We'll be launching smaller groups of cohorts in a more consistent way. So please apply and let us know if you're interested. It's really open to apps that are published on the App Store today. So if you're on the App Store and you're interested, click that link and apply so you can let us know that you want to be part of the program. Cool. The next thing I want to talk about is Xerocon. So hoping some of you have been to Xerocon. This year we're heading to Brisbane and we are more excited than ever. It's called Xerocon Supercharged. So the tagline is bigger, brighter, and better than ever before, which I kind of love. But it really is going to be bigger and brighter and better. So we have more content, more speakers, more attendees, more exhibitors. So for Xero Developer, there's kind of 2 ways to participate. There are still exhibitor opportunities available. So head over to the website, to the Xerocon website. There's a direct link to sign up to be an exhibitor. You can apply. They're expecting a large crowd. They're actually doing some really new innovative stuff this year. So really a cool opportunity for be an exhibitor. It's happening the 3rd and 4th in September. The other thing that's new this year is that we are bringing back the mini developer days. So I've only been with Xero Developer for a year, but Grace and the team, you've been here for a long time, and they used to do these developer days, and we're bringing them back. I know there was COVID shutdown and the world changed, and a lot of things changed in the world, but we are bringing back these developer days. So that is happening on the 2nd of September, the day before, like day 0, before Xerocon, and it's going to be content from Xero Developer. So expect marketing content, product updates, program updates, kind of everything Xero Developer updating will be happening that day. So it's kind of like a mini content day, just a couple hours, and then a little reception. We're still going to do beers after bumping. So hope you can join us. Now, if you're not exhibiting at Xerocon, do not worry. We will be publishing all of the information that we talk about at Xerocon broadly. So you can expect to see that our different webinars, quarterly webinars or special webinars. So if you can't make it, it's not like it's you'll miss the information. We will for sure get it out to you. But hope you can join us if you're interested. Cool. And then my last slide is all about the App Awards. So for those of you that are published on the App Store, App Awards are not new to Xero, but what is new is that we are consolidating them from regional App Awards to global Xero Developer App Awards. And the reason being is that previously they were really tied to the Accountant and Bookkeeper Awards. And while that makes a ton of sense because accountant and bookkeepers are regional, apps are primarily global. So this year we're going to be consolidating them into one global award kind of process. And the goal of this was to make both your lives easier in the application process and also the prizes larger. So we're kind of getting all of the different regional teams to ideate on how we can make this better, both in the applications as well as in the prizes. So that's kicked off, and we're really excited. Again, this is apps that are published on App Store are eligible. Information will be posted on the blog, but we just wanted to let you know, if you haven't seen regional App Awards, don't worry, App Awards aren't going away. We're just consolidating them to make them a little bigger and better this year. So applications will be opening soon, and more information will be available on the dev blog there, and we'll include it also in our newsletter and on our website. So really cool, more information coming soon, but lots happening in our space. Really excited to increase engagement, connect with more of you this year, and continue to build out cool programs and cool content and cool engagement with developers. So thanks for having me, Grace. Over and back to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Annie, for joining us. We have got a ton of good things in store, so I am super, super excited about all of those things, and I really can't wait to see many of you at Xerocon this year in Brisbane. I have just popped up a quick poll there to ask you about your what you're most interested in from Fran and Annie today, just to help us out with content for next time. While you're answering that, I did just want to do a quick little run through where you can find us, some of the key places to check in. Of course, we'll be in person this year in a few different places, but Xerocon Brisbane, obviously the main one to look forward to. We run these webinars quarterly, so at the end of each quarter, you can expect to see a webinar from us. We do have a YouTube channel, so a number of different helpful videos on there, as well as, of course, our Developer Center. Like we've mentioned a few times, DevBlog is the place to go, as well as our monthly newsletters that come out, and API@xero.com. If there's always anything left over, you can hit us up there. Right. Now I'm going to move into one of the fun sections for the end of this webinar, and I'm going to invite a special guest to join us, Ashley Schroder from Paidnice. Hey, Ash.
Hey Grace, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for joining me today. Now, you've been a long-time member of the ecosystem, and for those who haven't come across you, I was wondering if you could give us a quick intro on your background and what you're up to at the moment.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me along. So at the moment, I'm co-founder of Paidnice, and Paidnice is a software product that automates accounts receivable for businesses to help them get paid on time, improve their cash flow. I'm a software developer, that's my background. Before Paidnice, I was co-founder of a different software product called A2X, and we started that around a decade or so ago and sort of built that up, helping e-commerce sellers do their accounting. So people that sell on Amazon or eBay or Shopify or Etsy, those sorts of online platforms, we would do the accounting for all of their financial transactions and post them into their accounting system. So yeah, so my background is development and have built a couple of different companies working with Xero.
Cool. Yes, we've definitely spent a little bit of time working together over the years. Now, before I jump into some other questions, I did just want to mention to our audience that we are going to open to Q&A for Ash as well at the end. So if you do have questions for him, please submit them through. Now, I know that you obviously have worked on a couple of things, and more recently, you've been really trying to drive success around Paidnice. And so I want to dig a little bit more into that journey with Xero. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit more about how you actually got started with the Xero platform.
Yeah, this is going to make me sound really old, but we've been using Xero for our own accounting in various businesses since like 2011, like a long, long, long time ago.
Just a few years.
Uh, but you know, because New Zealand was kind of like the starting point of Xero, and so I think actually this is going to make it sound really New Zealand specific, but I think I met Rodri at a wedding, and he told me that I should use Xero. So, you know, like that's how small town New Zealand is. But you know, so we adopted Xero, and it was like groundbreaking at the time because you had bank feeds and the whole reconciliation process was really easy and elegant. And then from a developer point of view, there were APIs, and that really unlocked a whole lot of different potential app ideas, right? To build on the platform.
Cool. I mean, it's definitely early days in for the API when you first get started. I'm wondering, particularly with your app Paidnice now, like what advice, or like how did you get advice on what to build and the features you need to build for your product?
Well, I think it helps a lot if you're sort of your own first customer, you know, like if you really understand the problem. I think with A2X, we were our own first customer because we were selling online on e-commerce platforms and we sort of understood that. And so building the software initially for ourselves. And I think with Paidnice, it's a little bit the same, you know, like we had similar sort of business problems that probably a lot of people do around cash flow and getting paid on time. And so those very early kind of requirements and features, I would say, like if you can understand the problem and if you have it yourself, it helps a lot. In the absence of that, like if you're not your own first customer, getting those first customers and just really deeply talking to them about what their problems are and how you can solve and help them is key, really key. So yeah, that would be my advice. Like either be or get early customers and just talk to them a lot, find out what they need and how you can help.
I know that that will probably resonate with a number of the people listening in today, particularly because there's a lot of smaller businesses like yourself that use, you know, Xero or other platforms to get up and starting. I'm curious, like obviously you've talked about getting customers and talking to them. How did you get your first customers?
Um, Yeah, in both cases, it's been a lot of sort of word of mouth and sort of very kind of guerrilla marketing, I guess, you know, like reaching out to people on forums and things. I think one of the key things I guess I've seen it happen twice now with both businesses is trying to build the smallest thing that you could actually pitch to a customer first. Like if you go away and spend 6 or 12 months building this huge big piece of software, having never kind of offered it to the market, and then you kind of thrust it upon the market and be like, hey, here, everyone buy this thing. You might have ended up building a lot of the wrong features and stuff that people don't really care about. So I think building like the smallest thing you can to start with that you can legitimately go out and offer to people and say like, hey, do you want to use this thing? Do you want to pay for it? Because once you start getting that feedback, it's a bit like a flywheel, right? Like people say, oh, this is really cool, but can it do this other thing? Or could you do this? And you start to notice the patterns of those requests. And it's like, oh yeah, like these 5 people are all asking for something that's obviously important, and it can guide you in a way that without that feedback, you can often end up kind of wasting a lot of time building stuff that doesn't really matter to people.
I really love that you have such a tight connection to your customers. You obviously care about them really deeply. Now, with your Paidnice app, obviously you're kind of still relatively fresh as a business, and I wanted to hear a little bit about like how you found growing your app Paidnice. So what's been the highlight and some of the big successes, but equally, what have been some of the major challenges you'd faced with getting your app up and running?
I mean, from the success side and like the rewarding side of it, it's just like growing a software business. I just love like, when you show somebody a product you've built and they're like, whoa, that's awesome. Like, take my money. Like, there's nothing better than that. It's such a rewarding thing. On the flip side, like anyone who's built, I bet tons of people in here, building like a startup app, like you're kind of constantly wearing lots of different hats, and your to-do list is always just basically infinite. Like there's always 1,000 more SEO marketing things you should do, or 1,000 more engineering technical debt things you should do, and so you'll never get to the bottom of the list, and so you're constantly kind of firefighting lots of different areas, which is kind of fun as well, but it's also kind of a grind. And then I think also, like if you've got like 10 customers and one of them churns or leaves you, you like take it really to heart. It's like, oh God, what have I done wrong? Like, is the product terrible? So I think there is this kind of psychological thing at the start as well, where you're trying to like, you're putting so much love into this product. And then when somebody actually says, no, this isn't for us, you're like, oh no, done the wrong thing. So yeah, I think there's the highs and lows, right? When you get a really happy customer, it makes you feel really good. And then just the challenge of kind of grinding through all the different steps of building a business and trying to keep customers happy.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I think it's great to celebrate the wins and some of those harder bits. You take the learnings from them, right? So you can move forward.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Annie mentioned before that you were part of our growth program pilot that we launched last year. And I wanted to chat a little bit with you about that. So how did you find that program helped you grow?
Yeah, that's been awesome for us, really. Like it was a big vote of confidence that Xero kind of selected us among those apps. I think anytime a big business kind of like chooses you, you feel like, oh, that validates us a little bit, which was really cool. From the marketing side, it's been, just working closely with different teams at Xero has been huge for us. Like just off the top of my head, examples are, like blog posts talking about success stories, webinar, kind of co-marketing webinars where we've had a chance to kind of present to accounting firms, being featured in the App Store. All of these kind of things have just raised a lot more visibility to Paidnice than we would normally have. And when you're really small, just like the more people that hear about you, the more people that know about your product it's all positive. So yeah, so from that point of view, it's just been really, really awesome. And then just internally having, input on marketing and suggestions and optimizing our App Store listing and all these kind of technical things have been really, really awesome as well. So yeah, that's both outwardly and internally, it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. It sounds like it's definitely helped you overcome some of the challenges that you've faced in the as part of your journey of getting Paidnice out into the wild.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been great. So I would highly recommend it.
Cool. I love that. Now we're gonna open up to any questions from the audience. So if you do have any that you want to send through, please do so. I've got a last little question for you, and I felt inspired a little bit by when I was reflecting on our last catch up, Ash, and I was wondering if you actually use any AI tools in your dev time in the day to day.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, I would encourage all devs to at least try them because it's crazy what's possible these days. Yeah, there's Copilot, GitHub's got Copilot in their code, IDE, and IDEs like Cursor where you can basically just plug in all these different models. But it is funny, like these days, being a developer sometimes feels more like you're really just watching the computer code and like telling it what to do. And sometimes it's almost uncanny with the autocomplete. You start writing a function or something and it just goes, "Oh, is this what you want?" And you look at it and you're like, "Damn, that's exactly what I was going to write. Like I don't have to do it. The computer knows already." So yeah, tools like Cursor, Copilot, really incredibly helpful for a developer. Like I feel like productivity wise, it's awesome. Also, it's kind of a trap. Like you definitely have to know what you're looking at and understand the code. Otherwise, it can just write a lot of wrong code as well. But that will change. I guess it will just get better and better over time. So if you're not already trying out AI tools, I would highly encourage people to check them out. It's pretty amazing.
Well, it's really interesting to hear you chat about that. And I'd actually love to hear from the audience as well in the chat function if they, what, if any, AI tools they might use as part of their developments, because it's a different way of working compared to when I first started as well in coding many years ago. I'm curious and also would love to hear about this from the audience too, if you think we could do anything as Xero to help you with your AI development, like if there's any AI tools we can provide or support you with at all. You can say no as well if you don't. I can't think of anything, Ash.
I mean, it's actually kind of staggering. I always get a little bit blown away. Like if you just went onto ChatGPT and were like, how do I write an API call to Xero's invoice endpoint to get the last 10 approved invoices or something random like that, that definitely wouldn't exist as no one will have written that exact thing before in public. It'll just be like, here you go. And you'll look at it and be like, huh, like yeah, that's exactly right. And then you'll be like, oh no, don't do it in Node, do it in Java. And it'll just be like, done. Like it's kind of nuts how so in a way it's like you probably don't have to do anything except just publish really good documentation and some good sample apps, and then the LLM, will just read it all in and do this insanely good job of summarizing it. It's yeah, it always just blows me away, especially when you like do something that you're like, this is probably a real niche and surely it won't know about this, and then it just does. It's like, whoa. So yeah, definitely publish good docs, publish good example code and stuff, and then just let the Googles and OpenAIs will do their thing probably.
Love that. Well, that's really insightful. I appreciate you sharing that with me. Now we have had a question come through from the audience for you, Ash. And Josh has asked, how do you evaluate which features to work on next out of all of the requests and ideas? That's an age-old
Yeah.
problem for any company.
If I knew the answer to that, I would just write a book. I don't know, honestly. Like, yeah, it's a bit of intuition and gut instinct. There probably is books about it that talk about how to do it really more scientifically, but I think sometimes it's weighing like the opportunity of getting that particular customer and kind of meeting their needs versus seeing like a wider opportunity for features that might affect more customers. Sometimes we'll build a feature for a customer because we know that customer's in an industry or a vertical that we think is really important. And we know, okay, if they're asking for it, we know there's another 1,000 companies like them that want that same thing. So, just simply going by how many people are asking for it is not always a good reason. It helps, obviously, if you've got the same thing being asked for all the time, but it's, yeah, I don't know the exact answer, honestly. It's a little bit of gut feel, a little bit of experience and intuition, and a whole lot of luck probably as well.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a little bit of some strategic plays in amongst that as well. Cool. I can't see any other questions that come through for you just now, Ash, but what I'll do is I'll welcome Annie and Fran to join us as well. And if you have any other questions that come through for Ash, we can always pick your brains while you're with us. So just looking through, there were a couple of pre-submitted things that came through, but I wanted to ask you, Annie, one that came through, what regions is the referral program open to?
Yeah, thanks. It's actually global, so it's a global program. So wherever you are, it is open to you. So definitely don't feel restricted based on location.
While I have you, I'll just ask you next question, which was about the awards. Do you know what categories people can expect there at the moment?
Yeah, we're actually working through that now. So we have pulled all the different regional teams in, and we actually just kicked that off yesterday. We're looking at kind of revamping them. So previously it was best small business app, best AAV app, best app overall, and best emerging app. We really like those categories, but we're just making sure that we also are inclusive of both apps that are global, apps that are regional specific. So we understand they're like making this, there might be concerns like, oh, we're taking programs that were regional, and so there were lots of different awards now, and maybe it's going to feel like it's limited. That's not the intention at all. So we're still working through exactly what categories we're going to land on, and working through like what questions we're going to ask. But the goal is to make it accessible to all types of apps in all geos, and award as many apps as we can. So not intent, like still work in progress, I'd say.
Cool. I love that. I'm excited to see all of the applications that can come through later this year. Fran, I have one for you here, which is that someone's asked if the pricing on listings is something they can opt in or out of.
Cool, thanks, Grace. Unfortunately, no. From a customer perspective, we've heard through a lot of research and requests that this is a really important piece of information for them that is currently missing off listings. So we want it to be across the whole site, and we're just working through how that will look at the moment. But hopefully
Okay.
that.
Cool, thanks. Appreciate that. Lucky last question at the moment. So if you do have a question, now's the time to put it through. But this was one of the pre-submitted questions, which was asking for additional fields on the new pagination XPM client endpoint. Now I don't have I can't say that they're building these features at the moment, but what I have done is I have sent that feedback directly to that product manager, so that they know what your queries are, and that's something we're trying to do across the board, is making sure that the product teams across Xero have your direct feedback for sure. I think, unless there's any, I'm just having a quick little look through. Will the recording be emailed? It will be sent out in our next newsletter that goes out, but we post it on our Xero developer YouTube account. So if you're subscribed to that or you get notifications for that, then you will be able to see that as soon as it goes live, rather than waiting for it to come out in the newsletter. And hopefully that helps you out. I can't see any more questions for today. Looks like the folks who are helping with Q&A answered a ton of them while we were talking today. So hopefully you've got all of your queries answered. I do just want to say a huge thank you to Ash for joining us for Q&A. I found that super insightful, and it was cool to learn a little bit more about what you're doing at Paidnice and some of your approaches to development. Of course, a big thank you to Annie and Fran for joining us too, for presenting, and we will catch you all next time. Thanks, everyone.